Okay, so these are the notes for today for trendline line of best fit. And I'm actually going to not have you write this bottom part. So just forget about this bottom part, okay? We're gonna focus on the top. So a trend line or line of best fit is a line that is estimated and drawn through the middle of the data. You must find the y-intercept and slope of the line to write its equation in slope-intercept form. And the goal is to have a linear line that has approximately the same number of points above it as below it, and it goes through the center of your data. So pause the video if you need to continue writing, which I'm sure you should, and then press resume or play when you're ready to move forward. So this is an example of how we would draw a trend line. So we have got our data table or our data set, distance in miles versus time in minutes, and we have our graph. So you plot these points, which I've already done, so you'll need to do that on the graph. And then the way that I drew this line is, again, you want to have a straight line that goes or has as many points on the top as it does on the bottom. So the way that I did this is I counted how many data points I had, which was 9. And so I knew it wasn't going to be an even number on the top and the bottom, depending on if I went through any of the points as well, because the points you go through don't count. So I went through and I started with that first point, and then I just kind of moved my paper up and I said, okay, if I draw a line here, it's going to go through this point, this point, this point, and this point. So that's 4 points out of the 9. So that means I had 5 points remaining. So that would leave 2 points above the line and 3 points below the line, and that was acceptable. So I drew my line. So you'll need to draw that line. Go ahead and pause the video, make sure you get all of this down, and then press play, resume when you're ready to move to the next one. Okay. So for our next one, this is your data set, and this is your table. We've got weeks and sales. Sales go by 2s on the side, and weeks go by 1s down at the bottom. I've plotted all my data points, which you'll need to do as well. And then don't worry about this quite yet, because first we're going to talk about that line. So I took this line first. You don't want to start from here because your data is going down. So I started here at this point, and I said, okay, if I draw the line here, I have 8 data points. It's going to go through 3 of them. So 5 minus 3, or excuse me, 8 minus 3 is 5. Sorry about that. So I drew my line. It went through 3 data points. I have 2 on the bottom, or excuse me, 2 on the top and 3 left on the bottom. So I knew that was acceptable. And then from there, what you're going to do is you're going to pick any 2 points on your line. So I picked these 2 points. This point is 5, 10, and this point is 6, 8. You might want to pause the video, make sure you have all this done before you move forward with what I'm about to say. So this was the first point that I hit, 5, 10, and then the next point that I hit after that was the 6, 8. That's why I put a 1 and a 2 here. So to go ahead and use that equation, we have something called the change in y over the change in x. So for some reason they use this triangle, so the change in y over the change in x. So we do that by saying m, or our slope, is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So here's my 1, here's my 2. So my y value for the second one was 8, so I wrote that here. My y value for the first one was 10, I wrote that here. And it's subtracting. And then my x value for the second one was 6, so I write that here. And 5 for the first one, so I wrote that here. x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1. Then I went ahead and put a subtraction sign. Okay. So I subtracted them and got -2 over 1. I'm going to give you a minute to write that. Okay, so now that means that my slope is a -2. So then you're going to pick either one of these points. I picked point 510 to do slope-intercept form, the y equals mx plus b. So I know y, because I picked my point and my y value is 10. You could do either one of these. And then my m was the -2, excuse me, the -2 we found here. So we've got 10 equals -2 times x. X was 5 in this point that I picked, plus b, which we don't know. That's what we're trying to find. So then I do -2 times 5 gives me a -10 plus b. I have to add 10 to both sides to get b by itself, and I have 20 equals b. Now we're not going to be doing any assignments with this week. More so, we're going to be focusing on the correlations and associations. So, when you're finished writing all this, submit pictures of all your notes that you took into Canvas today, and you're all set. You can rewind, pause, and go back and watch this video as much as you need to get your notes taken care of. Have a great day, guys.